खाके फ़लस्तीन पे यहूदी का अगर हक, हिस्पानिया पर हक नहीं क्यों अहले अरब का। वाह। If the Jews claims the soil of Palestine, why cannot the Arabs claim the soil of Spain, right?
لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. So today is Iqbal's day. The one of the most famous geniuses, the thinkers and the poet of not only Pakistan, but he is, I think, a genius of the entire world. I think his words still resonate to this date among the Muslims and the West as well, right? And so on this day, I think fittingly, I wanted to highlight that Allama Muhammad Iqbal also wrote about the Palestine issue as well. Many don't know about this. Iqbal also wrote about this, and he is famous writing in Zarb-e-Kaleem entitled Sham-o-Falasteen, which in English means Syria and Palestine. He wrote, and the first verses go, and I'll explain these, all of these. रिंदान फ़रांसीस का मेखाना सलामत पुर है मए गुलरंग से हर शीशा हलब का. Heaven's blessing on those brazen Frenchmen shine. Aleppo's rare glass brims with their red wine. So basically, in this first verse, Iqbal is hinting and explaining that the Western culture, he gives the example of French, depicting the Western culture, is starting to instill among the Arab world, right? Among Syria, he mentions, among the Arab world. So basically, with the passage of time, the Arabs became more influenced with the Western culture and the Western world. And Iqbal is saying that this is a major downfall of the Arab world in disuniting, is that they always move towards the West. They always look towards the West, and this is a major downfall. Arabs need to be united instead of looking towards the Western culture, right? They need to be confident of their own culture. So the second verse goes, है खाके फ़लस्तीन पे यहूदी का अगर हक, है खाके फ़लस्तीन पे यहूदी का अगर हक, हिस्पानिया पर हक नहीं क्यों अहले अरब का. वाह. If the Jews claims the soil of Palestine, why cannot the Arabs claim the soil of Spain, right? So Iqbal is actually exposing the stupid logic of the Israeli Zionist Jews, who say that because the Jews owned this land some 3,000 years back, so that's why this land should be given to them. I mean, if you reflect back in 1918 in the Balfour Declaration, this was the premise, right, by which Israel illegally occupied this land of Palestine. This was the premise, right? I mean, the British tries to call itself liberal, democratic. This is a stupid claim, right? That because our ancestors used to live there, we claim. So Iqbal is saying that once upon a time, the Muslims ruled Spain. The Muslims ruled Spain. So why cannot the Arab Muslims claim the land of Spain? Because now the majority of the population in Spain are Christians, right? So why cannot now Muslims claim that land? That hey, we used to live there, right? Our ancestors lived there, so why cannot we claim that land? So this is a stupid logic, and Iqbal is exposing that logic, that stupid logic from the Israeli Zionist Jews like to give. And the last verse goes, मकसद है मलूकियत इंग्लिश का कुछ और, किस्सा नहीं नारंज का या शहद और रुतब का. Some new design must have inflamed our English potentates. This is no story of oranges, honey, or dates. And now Iqbal is saying that this creation of Israel, right? This creation of Israel, this, you have to understand the think tanks of the Western world, of the British back then, right? Their purposes were something else. Their purpose was not to, do it so that the world lives in peace, or for, he's saying for oranges, honey, or dates. This was not, you have to understand, their purpose was something else, which was what? Which was global dictatorship, using Israel as a buffer state against the Muslim world, against the Arab world. So divide and conquer. They created this state. They created this state to develop rift against the Arab world, so that they can have their people like Netanyahu, these kind of people, right? They leave these states as buffer states. They use these people like Netanyahu, etc., to create a rift in the Arab world, so that and many things has to be said about this. Leaving Israel as a state here, you can always check the temperature of the Arab world, that how they will react to Israel. If the way they react to Israel is ultimately deciding how the Arab world will react to them, right? So that's why when Iqbal is saying that maqsad kuch aur hai, the purpose is something else. We have to understand that purpose. It was not to just for developing peace in the land. The exact opposite. In order to maintain their global dictatorship, in order to maintain their supremacy, they create these little states all around the places, so that they can develop rifts and develop tension among the Arab world. If you remember back, similarly with the subcontinent region, in Afghanistan they did the same, in Syria they did the same with Bashar al-Assad. So they always do these kind of things, and so Iqbal is hinting towards the Western mindset, the vicious and diabolical nature of their mindset, is to leave these states as areas, and then they fund Israel, right? They fund Israel, militarily equip them to develop fight the Arab world, develop rift amongst the Arab world, divide the Arab world. So they have all these strategies. So I think it's really important to read about Iqbal. Today is Iqbal Day, and Iqbal's he wrote so much things about the Western world. I mean, highlighting the wrong elements of Western colonialism, of the materialist mindset of Europe, the materialist mindset of the West. One really needs to read about Iqbal more and more. The man was an absolute genius, not just of Pakistan or subcontinent or the Muslims, but I think of the entire world. Muslims and the West as well can learn from his teachings. And with that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Offensive attacks by Israel against the people of Gaza or the West Bank, have we or heard anybody in this house or any Western leader utter the words Palestine has the right to defend itself?